that you've been keeping from us in your jails. And it seems like the prisons are the only people that are willing to give up these undocumented immigrants, probably because they're already overcrowded enough. But yeah, it's a bit insane that we got, bro, literally the local government protecting these undocumented immigrants while they're in jail, sometimes releasing them or just preventing them from being taken by ICE.
Our country, I say 25 million people with an open border policy for 4 years under Biden and that group, the auto pen group, I call them. We allowed to come into our country people the likes of which no country would accept. And we're getting them out, but we've gotten a lot of them out. So crime now in Minnesota, crime now in Minneapolis is down. Crime in all cities is down. And you know why it's down? It's down because of us. It's down in Chicago by 25%, despite the fact that we are always dealing with these people, and they happen to be Democrats.
Right. Speaking of
that don't know anything about crime prevention.
Mr. President, speaking of Minneapolis, what did you learn?
I mean, the most high crime cities in America are ran by Democrats. And I know what the Dems will say, oh, it's the red states. Wrong. Because the places with the highest crime in those red states are blue cities every single time.
Learned that maybe we can use a little bit of a softer touch, but you still have to be tough. These are criminals. We're dealing with really hard criminals. But look, I've called the people. I've called the governor. I've called the mayor, spoke to them, had great conversations with them. And then I see them ranting and raving out there, literally as though a call wasn't made. We've done a great job everywhere. The only place there's been a little inflammation has been really, it's not Minnesota, because we've done well with
Los Angeles, too. There's been others. Yeah.
Well, I saved Los Angeles. The top law enforcement officer, right at the beginning of my time when they were having riots, before me and it carried into me. If I didn't go in there with the National Guard, with troops, you wouldn't have the Olympics, which I got the Olympics. You wouldn't have the Olympics in Los Angeles. And he said, without the president sending in the troops, we would have lost Los Angeles. Yeah. And you know what? I saved Los Angeles. And we will do it again if we have to. And by the way, we're going to have a very safe Olympics, and we're going to have a very safe world.
Oh, guys, let's make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. The goal is 100 likes, so let's get to that by double tapping that screen.
Speaking of Minneapolis, after the shooting of Renee Good, you said ICE made some mistakes. What were the mistakes?
Well, look, I'm not happy with the two incidents. It's not, it's both of them, not one or the other. He was not an angel. And she was not an angel. You look at some tapes from back, but still, I'm not happy with what happened there. Nobody could be happy, and ICE wasn't happy either. But I'm going to always be with our great people of law enforcement, ICE, police. We have to back them. If we don't back them, we don't have a country. If we don't back them, you're going to end up, look, Washington, D.C. was a very unsafe place to be. You couldn't walk to the White House. You couldn't walk to a restaurant. Restaurants were closing. I inherited not only a mess with the country, I inherited a horrible, very dangerous capital. Washington.
Here's the thing. Trump's not saying we back them no matter what they do. Like, oh, we're just giving them immunity. He's saying we got to back them when it counts. When we got Dems literally out here trying to say that, oh, no, Renee Good was murdered. He's a murderer. And it's like, well, what happened to due process, guys? The same thing you were complaining about for the illegals. Yeah. Innocent until proven guilty. What happened to all that? So y'all need to chill out on that whole he's a murderer thing. Even with Alex Preddy, like, you can't even say that was murder. Why? Because for all we know, his gun could have went off. That could have led to him accidentally getting shot. Let's also not forget that he walked up to an ICE officer trying to impede an arrest or a law enforcement scene, or get involved in a law enforcement scene while armed, by the way. Like, on both situations, there were things that these individuals could have done to, save their own life.
D.C. is now an extremely safe place. You see what happened. You're here a lot.
When you mentioned Renee Good,
let me ask you, Tom.
Yeah.
You're here a lot.
Yeah.
Would you have walked down the street a year and a half ago with your family? No. But today you can, and nothing's going to happen.
You mentioned Renee Good and Alex Preddy not being angels. Do you think any of that justified what happened to them, though?
No. I don't. It should have not happened. It was a very sad, to me, it was a very sad incident, two incidents. And, they mention the one now, they don't mention the other. Well, I think they were both sad. And You know who feels worse about it than anybody? The people of
The
ICE.
reason they don't mention Renee Good because, well, Renee Good is going to be seen as a lawful shot. Like, I know the Dems are going to lose their mind about that. They're going to be like, oh, well, said, you know, she was turning away and all this good stuff. And that's great. Like, trust me, bro, I get it. Like, we're all hearing you. I don't believe that she was trying to run that ICE officer either. But we're going off the perception of the officer. It's all on his perception. When we talk about the totality of evidence, yes, his perception of him probably but thinking he's about to be hit matters. And yeah, I'm sorry, but if you're being told to get out that car and you ignore that order and you're driving off, at that point you are using your car as a weapon, especially while officers are around you and trying to pull you out the car.
They're strong, tough people, and they have to be tough because we're dealing with hardened criminals.
Right.
We're dealing with people, you know, jails have been emptied into our country from all over the world, from Venezuela, where we had great success, you will admit, but from Venezuela, from the Congo in Africa, from all over the world. Jails, the jail population was emptied into our country. If we don't have strong people, you're not getting them out.
Yeah.
And we're getting.
Look, guys, look, I mean, you could cry to me, but you're going to be crying to at the court steps when this guy gets off, okay? I mean, it just is what it is.
Them out. Remember this again, I say it again and again. We have record low crime in the United States. Nobody's been able to say that for 125 years.
So I want to be clear because it sounds like there is a shift in immigration enforcement here, that there's going to be a shift after Minneapolis. What should Americans expect going forward?
Well, one thing I say to my people, you know, we do a good job, we don't get credit for it. I say they have to ask and they have to say please. When a city is
who has to ask and who has to say please?
Or the governor.
Both.
I don't want to go and force ourselves into a city, even if their numbers are terrible. Like, for instance, I got a call from Jeff Landry, governor of Louisiana. He said, we have a big problem. Could you go in and help us with well, let's see, certain sections. I mean, to be honest with you, certain sections of the state, beyond their famous, beautiful city, certain sections of the state. We have done, not only in New Orleans, we've done a really great job in Louisiana, but I was called. I want to be called. Chicago, we could solve the Chicago crime.
Well, on that question, which cities are you headed to next?
We have 5 cities that we're looking at very strongly, but we want to be invited. We will sometimes call the governors.
Are they cities like Chicago, Philadelphia? Are these the cities?
Now, you know, Pritzker's not going to let you inside Illinois or Chicago. I mean, Brandon Johnson. I mean, look, bro, we're talking about like mayors and governors who literally care about undocumented immigrants more than their own citizens. That's what you got to realize, to the point where they're willing to, I would say, invoke this radical language towards ICE to get their own constituents to go out there and put themselves in harm's way. These are the people that we're dealing with.
We could straighten out the crime in Chicago. We've already brought it down 25% just by being there. We could have Chicago be a safe city, just like DC is a safe city, just like all of these places that we've gone to. And I look forward, you know, I didn't campaign on that. I campaigned on law and order, but I didn't think I'd be going into individual cities and making them safe.
Anything else you can tell us about the 5 cities? The 5 cities, anything else? So Americans are ready?
We'll be announcing them very quickly, but we could do something. As an example, I was called by people. San Francisco said, please, we have a Democrat mayor. He's trying very hard. Would you, friends of mine that live there, it's got crime problems. Would you let him do the job and not come in? Let's see how it works. I said, look, I can do it much quicker, much faster. Don't forget, we remove criminals. We took over 2,000 hardcore criminals out of Washington, D.C. If we didn't do that, 2% of the people.
No, here's a problem. What the Dems don't know. When Renee Good was, you know, obstructing and disturbing the police during their investigation or the tracking down of a child molester, yes, of an undocumented immigrant who's a child molester, well, that's what Renee Good was disturbing, not locking up your most favorite undocumented immigrant. I'm sorry, that's not what was happening. And you guys got to realize you're not only protecting these guys, because you're doing 2 things at once. You're protecting the undocumented immigrants who've committed, well, no crime, but being here illegally. And then you're also protecting the undocumented immigrants who've committed heinous crimes at the same time, while crying about Trump being a pedophile protector, while you're also doing the same through your protests. I mean, it's hilarious, low key.
create 90% of the crime. Think of that, 2%. So you have a criminal, because it's over and over again, 2% create 90% of the crime. We took out 2,000 people, more than 2,000 people out of Washington, D.C., and we now have a safe city.
You, as I mentioned, you've had success on immigration. Illegal border crossings are at historic lows, right?
You know, it's so nice that you said that.
But if you look at the
Tom, what you just said.
It's true.
No, but it's so nice. I hope you air it. It's so nice what you said, because that's called good reporting. That's called fair reporting. Now give me the second part.
Now let me give you the second part of the question. But if you look at the polls, most Americans say they don't like how you've handled immigration, right? Especially what's happened in Minneapolis. How do you change their minds?
Well, I don't believe the polls.
Yeah, because they're mainly asking the left on how Trump is handling immigration. It's like, no, we understand that Trump is actually handling immigration pretty well. The problem is, it's these states and cities that aren't handling it well. And we're really talking about, well, there's only two cases. There was a case in LA where that got out of hand, where people were throwing rocks at ICE officers. And then we got it over here in Minneapolis, where people are, well, for some reason, Mayor Jacob Fry is not providing crowd control by involving local police, or at least getting surrounding local police to help out with crowd control to protect the protesters and the ICE officers. But we also got Tim Walz, who was the mayor, not the mayor, but the governor of Minnesota, to bring in the National Guard to provide crowd control for the local police, to help out ICE officers, to help them carry out their investigations, operations, or whatever. That's all that needed to happen, and Renee Good and Alex Preddy would still be here to this day. So it's not ICE's fault. It's the leadership of these mayors and governors. Really, I'm gonna be real with you. It's like, let's just be real. The main examples is Tim Walz and Jacob Fry.
For one thing, because how can you not have? I saw a poll in the border where I'm at 55%. Okay,
the polls show that Americans aren't against the deportations.
Well,
it's the handling of immigration.
You know, polls. It depends on the way you ask the question. I saw a poll in the border. I'm at 55%. Well, how can I only be at 55% when everybody agrees that the border is totally, beautifully closed and nobody's coming in unless they come in legally, et cetera. It couldn't be better. I should be at 100%. I don't believe the polls. And some polls, I mean, I could show you polls where I'm polling at 69% popularity, and some polls where I'm
sorry, I gotta grill people like you. You guys gotta realize this is what's rage bait. I'm not rage baiting you. If rage bait is telling you the truth, then bro, that's your problem. I'm sorry about that. And as a black man, if I sell out, I can make some money. Brother, selling out is going along with the black liberals' idea of abortion and socialism, apparently, that what they're picking up as well. And of course, the victimhood mentality that you have as well. So I'm sorry, but selling out, bro, selling out is telling you the truth. And I'm sorry, bro, that you feel that way.
I have one at,
we lost the White House to share that with us. Yeah,
71%. And then I have polls where I'm at 44% and 42%. The polls are almost dishonest, almost as...
I don't think these libs understand that, bro. I'd make more money lying to you guys. I'd make more money going along with the rage bait of, oh, there are murderers. They're out there trying to get you guys. They're going to take you to foreign dungeons, because that's what you idiots pay for. You pay for that fear porn. And I mean, and just what? These left-wing pundits, they're going to give it to you because you pay for it. I'm not. I'm going to give you the truth. And the truth is, guess what? That Renee Good shot, lawful. Now, when we get to Alex Preddy, we'll see. It's still being investigated, but it's looking like that one is going to get cleared to be an okay shot as well. So I'm sorry, but get out your feelings. It ain't rage bait, because I'm telling you the truth.
Dishonest to some of the reporters themselves.
Yeah.
But I'm getting very good polls. I'm getting very good polls on crime prevention, on law and order, and on the border. I have to. And I'm starting to get great polls on the economy, which I think
the
is
polls on the economy they're not great.
They should be great.
They should be. So why aren't they? If you believe that,
I don't know. I mean, look, I've got
Americans tell us. We hear this. I mean, we're going to get into the economy later, but I mean, they tell us they don't feel it.
Yeah. I have $18 trillion being invested into the country. Biden had less than $1 trillion for 4 years, and the whole country was going to credit. You know,
when does America feel it?
You know that if they won that election, and we won in a landslide, you know, if they won that election, this country I think it was finished. I actually think it was finished. you would have had people, instead of 18 coming in, 18 trillion, you would have had $10 trillion leaving. I think our country, I think we would have been Venezuela on steroids.
I have a question about immigration still looking forward now. Your goal during the election was to deport everyone who came here illegally under President Biden. Is your mission now to deport everyone who came in illegally, or just people who have come in illegally who have also committed additional crimes?
We are totally focused on criminals, really bad criminals. Now, you could say people that came in illegally are criminals, but I'm talking about murderers from different countries. We have 11,888 murderers that Biden and his group led into our country. We've captured a lot of them. We've brought some of them back. A lot of them we don't want to bring back because we don't trust the country that they're not sent back again. Despite how strong the borders are, they'll figure a way to try and get in, and we don't want to, and we'll incarcerate them. But 11,888 murders. We are after those people. We're after the drug dealers. We're after the, we are after, by the way, a big problem, they allowed to come into our country people from their mental institutions, people from insane asylums that are mentally ill and very dangerous. We're getting them out.
Joe Rogan was one of your biggest endorsers in 2024. He said he understands that Trump's...
Now, and that's the worst part about it. Look, the Democratic Party under Joe Biden created a huge mess at the border. They had about 10 million encounters, probably like 7 million people let in. Now, I know that a lot, and these are conservative numbers. I know people are going to tell you 10 million, 65 million. They're going to shoot it through the roof. But conservative numbers say about 4 to 7 million illegals were let in. And that's still an effing problem. And we still got to get them out. So it's kind of funny that the Dems created this problem, and now they're crying about how it has to be cleaned up. Knowing that, you know, crazy, Obama used the same language, the same enforcement, the same tactics to get these illegal immigrants out of here. And you guys said nothing. You want to know why? Because you weren't following around ICE with your phone trying to radicalize everything they do. I mean, calling them fascists and Gestapos a bit out there. It's really insane that you called them that. You really can't make an honest comparison, but you'll still do it. And then when they pull up on you, you'll have this, I'm gonna be real with you, this like irrational fear of them. And honestly, that's what got Renee Good killed, because of rhetoric like Tim Walz saying that, oh, well, they're going to take you away to a foreign torture dungeon. Y'all actually believe that dumbass shit. Or, oh, they're mainly comprised of KKK and Proud Boys. Y'all actually believe that dumbass shit. Now I truly feel bad for y'all, because that is not the truth. And y'all been literally radicalized to hate, well, government authority, federal officers, and then y'all going out there and getting yourselves hurt over it. And this is the problem. And here's the thing. You guys are getting hurt over a problem that the, well, Democrats created. Like, I'm not going to say I'm pretty sure the Democratic base didn't want open borders. They didn't want their country to be flooded with illegals. But now that it's being done, they're the ones that's trying to stop it. And it's absolutely insane.
The president's sort of plan to deport people here who are here illegally. But he also understands why critics compare ICE officers to the Gestapo asking people for their papers. What's your response to him?
Well, look, first of all, he's a great guy. We had a tremendous success before the election. I think it was his biggest interview ever, and over 300 million people. It was very good. She didn't want to do it. You know, she decided not to do it because she's not capable. But I spoke to him 3 days ago. We had a great conversation. And all I'm doing, I have to keep.
Did he mention this to you? Did you guys talk about this, the ICE enforcement?
Yeah. Just had a good conversation. I think he's a great guy, and I think he likes me too.
Yeah.
And, you know, liking me isn't important. What happens is that I think we do a phenomenal job, but I don't think we're good at public relations.
What does that mean? You've said that a couple times now. What do you mean by that?
We don't sell the great job that we're doing. Look, we have the safest country.
Is that your staff, or those your staff?
Excuse me, people from your persuasion, somewhat left, to a job on numbers. It just came out that in 125 years, we have the safest country, the best crime numbers since the year 1900.
That's a stat. Yeah, we know
that was
true.
Way before my father was born.
Right.
Think of that. And yet, then you talk about crime, or you talk about this, or you talk about that, and the poll numbers aren't that good. People, we don't do a good public relations job. That's why I'm doing the interview with you today.
We appreciate
I'm trying to help my people. You know, PR,
We-
public relations.
Speaking of your people, you're never afraid to shake up your team. You've said that you're okay with shaking up your team. Do you still believe in Kristi Noem to deliver on your vision of immigration?
Look, she was in charge of the border. The border's closed. I mean, everybody gives me A+ on the border. The border was a disaster. People were pouring into our country.
But what
I'll be real with you. I don't think it's really fair to just kind of like put all this blame on Kristi Noem when this is a one-off situation what's going on in Minneapolis. And they're calling for her impeachment as if this has been going on all across America, as if Americans has been getting shot by ICE all across America, when no, Minnesota's a special case, and that actually has some relevance. It shows that there is something special, well, a lack of leadership due to the mayor that's going on that's causing these protesters to put themselves in harm's way and get hurt. Because if Jacob Fry would just put some crowd control out there, well, most of this stuff would never happen. I mean, ICE officers wouldn't be getting hurt, civilians wouldn't be getting hurt nor killed. But apparently, the Democrats can never hold their base accountable for anything.
about the
They don't even
enforcement?
try and come up now. You know the beautiful thing, the caravans. I think I came up with that name. Thousands of people, 25, 30,000 people in a group. You know who sent them? Their countries. They sent the people that they didn't want. Not only criminals, people that didn't want to work hard, etc. They know who it is. They sent them into our country. We have nobody coming in anymore. We have very good. You just asked me, Kristi, we have the best crime numbers that we've had in 125 years. I think she's doing a very good job. Again, public relations. She's not getting credit for the job that she does.
Let's
Now, where Kristi Noem's effed up is where she kind of like just came out of nowhere and started calling Renee Good and Alex Preddy. She called Renee Good a domestic terrorist, which is not provable because we don't know. Well, in my honest opinion, she overreacted and she was trying to drive off. Sadly, though, when she backed up her car, she put that officer in front of the car. So no, the officer didn't walk in front of the car. She moved her car and put him in front of it. Thus, when she went forward, he thought that she was trying to run him over. Thus, he took his shots. That's what happened.
move to the economy now.
And excuse me,
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
sad though, and it is, we had the two primary incidents.
Oh, but here's the thing, though. Calling her a domestic terrorist, yeah, that just wasn't it. Like, there's no proof that she was a domestic terrorist. There's no proof that Alex Preddy was going up there trying to assassinate ICE officers. I mean, if he was, I don't think he'd have just got in front of him. He'd probably just pulled out his gun and tried to try to tell him to freeze. So yeah, what Alex Preddy, what Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller said, out of line.
In Minnesota. So
And you shook up leadership there. You brought Tom Homan in.
yeah, I did, and Tom is great. Tom is a superstar. But you do thousands of arrests. You arrest thousands of rapists. You arrest thousands of the worst people. You arrest the drug dealers. I mean, we had drug kingpins. We had murderers. Thousands. No incident. We bring them back to their country. Two people. It's bad. I hate it. I hate even talking about it. Two people out of tens of thousands. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you get bad publicity. Nobody talks about all of the murderers that were taken out of our country. They don't talk about.
But it was two
They
Americans.
don't talk
who died,
about.
you
We
know?
have the smallest trucks. As an example, we've been very tough on the waters, and soon, pretty much overall. But if you look at the waters where we knock out boats, each boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. We're doing a job like nobody's ever seen before. I just got off the phone with President Xi, and he is amazed at how well the United States is doing. He said he's never seen anything like it.
You brought the conversation, Mr. President, so let me ask you, what did you talk about with the leader of China?
About a lot of topics. We talked
What's
about
the most important topic? Is it chips? Is it the wars in Ukraine? What is going on?
Well, I'm gonna be real with you. Trump picked up some leverage on China ever since he captured Maduro and pretty much took control of their oil. Because China was getting that oil. China also had heavy influence in Venezuela, which is no longer valid no more since pretty much Trump just snatched their leader, and now the old Maduro regime is working with Trump. So yes, Delcy Rodriguez is playing ball. And well, it's working out in our favor. And this doesn't help China not one bit because they rely on oil, and they was getting oil under market price from Venezuela. So now Trump is walking to the table pretty much saying, look, we'll give you some oil, but you got to come to the table with a better deal for us when it comes to trade. which China has yet to do. If anything, they've been more aggressive than ever.
I would say the economy, the relationship that we have with China. I'm going to be going there in April. Then he's coming here toward the end of the year.
Coming to the White House?
He's coming to the White House, toward the end of the year. We have a very good relationship. And, it's important that I have a good relationship, and for him that he has a good relationship with me. We have to have these are the two most powerful countries in the world, and we have a very good relationship.
You talk about tariffs?
We spoke for an hour.
Does he ask you about the tariffs? Is he saying this is hurting us?
Well, they're paying a lot of tariffs, as you know. China's paying a lot of tariffs. In the past, they didn't. I'm the one that put tariffs on China. I put tariffs on a lot of tariffs, or just so you understand, making our country rich. Our country has taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs, really trillions, because the threat of tariffs is getting all of these countries to lose to us.
Yeah.
And by the way, they've been doing it to us for 40 years. And now, but I'm doing it very judiciously, very fairly. But tariffs are bringing in tremendous amounts of money.
Here's the thing, guys, and this is how I know. Like, some of you guys are delusional when it comes to Trump and tariffs. So if tariffs were something that went straight to the consumer, then why are all these countries bending the knee every time Trump's throw out the word tariffs? Think about that. If it just went straight to the consumer, then wouldn't they just be like, okay, cool, go ahead and hurt yourself. We don't care. Oh, throw 25% on us. It's cool. Just get passed down to your consumer. We don't care. Instead, they're bending the knee. They're coming to the table and giving Trump whatever trade deal he wants. I mean, think about the sector Pacific tariffs. All right, 100% on semiconductors. All right, well then, why are these semiconductors companies bending the knee and building in America now, if they could just push it all on to the American consumer? I mean, pharmaceutical companies, AstraZeneca, building in Maryland. Want to know why? Because Trump put 100% on not for semiconductors, sorry, but pharmaceuticals that are not built inside of America. So if it goes straight to the consumer, how are we getting all these companies and countries to bend the knee to give us better deals? Like, make it make sense.
Give $12 billion to our farmers because they were mistreated by certain countries.
Yeah.
Tariff money. We're taking in hundreds of billions.
No, and I want to ask you about that. I want to get into that. Talking about the economy, you've brought a lot of prices down, as we said. Some are still stubborn.
Very few.
But when you, very few. I get it. Yeah.
Few.
When you talk to Americans, though, do you have to get them to understand that the prices are not going to come back down to your first term because we had a pandemic and we had record inflation? Are people's expectations too high, or is it just too expensive to live in America?
I just, again, don't think we're selling it properly. We've done a great job.
But it's expensive out there.
You saw gasoline this last week at $1.99 a gallon. It used to be, it was $4.50, $5 a gallon. $1.99.
I like to bring up this point every trip. The problem is that the main people who are, well, honestly, it's across the board, but the problem is it's mainly blue states that are crying about affordability. When it's mainly Dems I see coming here and talk about my prices have only went up. They've only went up. Seth, you're lying. And I'm like, let me show you something, brother. So let's go to this website right here, My Life Elsewhere, where you can compare living costs, from city, state, country, all that cool stuff. So, I'm shouting them out. So shout out mylifeelsewhere.com. And what I did here was compare the red state of Ohio's cost of living to the blue state of Virginia. Well, now blue state, because they voted in a governor that is now, raising their cost of living. But I went ahead and compared the costs. And surprise, surprise, Virginia is 23% more expensive than Ohio. I mean, y'all paying 30% more in groceries than I do. I mean, 2% less in transportation. That's nice. But I mean, it kind of gets canceled out when you're paying 30% more in housing and 50% more in childcare than I would be paying. And I mean, bro, we can go across the board with this, honestly. I mean, we can go to the most egregious of them, like New Jersey. Like, New Jersey's, bro, 35%. There ain't not one place in New Jersey, not one category in New Jersey where I'm paying more. Think about how it is with California. Think about New York. It's the same. So when these Dems come to me talk about an affordability problem, I'm like, yo, you might want to check in with your local government because they're kind of screwing you guys. And you're blaming it on Trump, but they're the ones raising your taxes.
9 cents a gallon gasoline. I think we've really bring it. I mean, I don't expect them to be much higher. Now, there's a natural inflation.
But they're never going to go
this,
down to that first term.
I inherited the worst inflation.
And shout out to my man, Alex Garcia. Well, yeah, Alex Garcia. We're paying 90% of the tariffs. Retard, Google it. No, we're not. And no, that's not something you can Google. Actually, if we're paying 90% of the tariffs and the average tariff is at what? The baseline tariff is 10%, then we will literally be seeing a 10% increase in the consumer price index and a 10% increase across the board in pricing. But that's not what we've been seeing. And I'm sorry, but I mean, like, bro, really? So we're paying 96% of the tariffs are being paid by, bro. You know, I know you're lying because you could easily go to consumer price index and it will show you that we're how much did price increase in the consumer price index in the month of January? 0.7%. 0.7%. Does 0.7% sound like we're taking in 96% of tariffs? And like I said, this is easily provable, Alex. And you're saying Google it? All right, but you're just going to look stupid. But I will Google it right now.
The history of our country, it was through the roof. Now, you will say it wasn't in history, it was 48 years. You know, there's a theory that was, I say it was the worst, but whether it's 48 years, I inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country, and now we have almost no inflation. Think of it. You know what it was for the last 3 months? 1.2%. You know what it was under Biden? You can't count that high.
Yeah.
I inherited the worst inflation. I inherited the worst crime. I inherited high prices. So when I inherited
inflation is down 2.7 right now, but it is down.
No. For the last three, don't forget, I inherited this mess.
Right.
For the last 3 months, it's at 1.2%. You know that?
Yeah. For the last
3 months.
You floated the idea of $2,000 rebate checks for Americans from tariff revenue. Who's going to get that, and when is that going to happen?
We'd make it. I'm looking at it very seriously. I'm the only one can do it because I'm taking in hundreds of billions of dollars of money.
But you can promise some Americans will get those checks.
Oh yeah, sure. I can do that. I haven't made the commitment yet, but I may make the commitment.
So it's not.
Well, I just gave 1776, right?
Yeah.
To the military. Right, $1,776.
But you said all.
You know, it's 1775. They presented it to me because that's what we have in a budget that I created because I want to take care of our military. Nobody takes care of the military like I do.
Yeah.
So $1,775. And I said, wait a minute, if you had $1, it's 1776. You know, that's quite a famous date.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So anyway, wait, so I gave 1,776 to our military, and they are very thankful.
Let's get to the Fed.
And now I may be doing that with regard to the entire population.
Okay. Let's get to the Fed. Is there any doubt in your mind that interest rates are going to be lowered?
Not much.
Why? How can you say that?
I just think they're going to be lowered. I mean, they should.
Is your new Fed pick on board with that?
We're way high. Okay, we're way high in interest. We have now, with me.
Now, the new Fed pick, Kevin Walsh, you know, Stanford graduate and all that good stuff. He did actually say he is going to go out there and cut rates. He's not the guy to believe in quantitative easing, which for some reason people thought was just a fix-all situation for the economy. But he is showing some type of promise. Now, we'll see when he gets in there because, I mean, you never know. They say one thing and do another once they get in seat. And the Fed chair is a very peculiar spot because once you're there for 10 years and no president can remove you.
With all the money, I've always been good at money. And with all the money coming into our country, we're a rich country again. We have debt, but we also have growth. And the growth will soon make the debt look very small. Because it's the greatest way, you have two ways. You can cut, and we do that anyway, and we did that. You know, we got rid of hundreds of thousands of federal workers. Yeah. And those workers went out and got themselves jobs in the free enterprise system. And you know what? That's called making America great again. We had 10 workers in the federal government for every single job. When the Democrats go in, they hire. I could right now give you the best.
Yo, Alex, bro, that is extremely disingenuous what you just said. Now, when Alex said Americans are paying 96% of tariffs, all right. You know, it said American businesses, right? So who are the importer of these goods? You know who pays the tariffs, right? Are the importers. And I've been said that the importers can absorb the cost on their profit margin or on their overhead costs. I mean, you're pretty much just said that pretty much the rich is eating the tariffs. I mean, do you have a problem with that? Because it says American businesses. So you're disingenuous when you said Americans are paying the tariffs, not the American consumer, but the American businesses, the importers that are bringing in these foreign products. See, like I said, you guys are liars for some crazy reason. You guys will literally lie.
Employment numbers in history. You know what I do? Go out and hire 2 million people, put them in the federal government.
Does your new Fed
I do
pick-
the
yeah,
opposite.
does your new Fed
I got
pick
you.
understand that you want him to lower interest rates?
Oh, I think he does, but I think he wants to anyway. I mean, if he came in and said, I want to raise them,
If he said that, he wouldn't have gotten the job.
he would not have gotten the job, no.
Do
If
you
I
believe-
thought he was a interest rate,
Let me see
now
if I
there'll
can
be
find it here.
times if I see inflation on the horizon, but we don't have that. We have low remember,
Yeah.
1.2% inflation in the last 3 months. We have
All right, now I feel.
low inflation and we have tremendous growth. You haven't had these numbers like
Oh
that.
yeah, and the funny thing is, I know where you got this article from. I had to read through like 3 articles on the situation, and I finally stopped at here in Investopedia, and this is where bro got it from. Here it is: American businesses and consumers are paying 96% of the total cost of Trump's sweeping tariffs. So American businesses and consumers. So you put them together, and you got 96%. I mean, are you stupid, bro? The importer are the ones who pays the tariff. So no shit, the American businesses are the ones paying it. But to sit there and say American businesses and consumers without separating the two, like, are you serious? Yes, extremely disingenuous. Like, wow. But yeah, that was according to Investopedia. American businesses and consumers are paying 96% of the tariffs without separating the two. When we all know and tariffs are paid by who? The importer. So that means their American businesses are the ones paying the tariffs. And you would know if it was being 96, like you said, because it's not 96%, because it didn't differentiate between, actually, it fused the two groups together. And I mean, let's be real, if you're smart, I mean, really, you're going to fuse the two groups together and sell it as 96 being passed down when it's most likely 96% of American businesses are the one eating the tariffs. Like, you for real? But okay, though. Hey, we try to make the rich work for us, and you guys start complaining about it. Crazy.
We have, think of it, low inflation, great growth. Now, all I have to do is one thing, easy, get down the interest rate.
Do you think the Fed chair answers to you or is an independent body?
Well, I mean, in theory, it's an independent body, but I think, I'm a smart guy. I know the economy better than almost everybody.
So
they
he
did
answers to you.
They did that prediction chart a year ago, and they had 71 great economists and me making the predictions. And, only 2 people were right, me and one other guy who is a very smart professor from a certain school that I went to.
Yeah.
Very good school.
Yeah.
And the 2 of us were right. Everybody else was wrong.
There's been bipartisan suggestions that the criminal investigation to the current Fed chair, Jerome Powell.
But all right, though, before we get into the criminal investigation on Jerome Powell, guys, let me show you something here. It's like crazy how, and this has come from Investopedia. Now, there are other websites that will tell you the truth, but I'm going to go with most likely what this guy went off of, Alex. American businesses and customers are paying 96% of the cost of Trump's tariffs. Right here. Right there. So when you fuse these two groups together, I mean, how do I know which group takes majority of that 60% or that 96%? Like, how would I know that? But you kind of see how they sell it to you, how he just sold it to you like, oh, no, we're paying 96% of the tariffs, even though, price data, economic data does not reflect that whatsoever. But, hey, let's get into our guy Powell, though.
Is payback, right?
Oh, guys, man, make sure you guys double tap the screen and like the video, guys. You got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements? I'll be happy to get into it with you guys, just like I did with our very goofy friend Alex over here. And I appreciate you, Alex. I really do.
Not lowering interest rates, but also for when he was in that sort of news conference with you with the hard hats and he was shaking his head and showing you the papers and disagreeing with you in public. Is that why he's under criminal investigation?
No, he was very respectful to me. He wasn't just, he was explaining to me.
Yeah.
I'm asking him, why are you spending almost $4 billion on a very small little complex of buildings? It's the highest price per square foot. He's renovating buildings for $3 to $4 billion. And this Fed chair that I have I think is going to be great. He might not have a home because this guy has spent so much money And I looked, it's a see-through. There's nothing inside. They are spending money. He's in charge of the project. This is the Federal Reserve building I'm talking about. It's a very small little, it's actually a couple of little, but they're spending more money than any building ever built in history per square foot.
Some Republican senators say they're not going to approve him unless you drop that investigation.
A lot of people say a lot of things.
You don't think that's true? You think,
I don't know.
is it worth it to drop the investigation to get your Fed chair through?
I think the investigation is being handled by Pam and Janine and the people. They'll make their own decision on it.
Let's talk about AI. Have you ever used?
But I do say this about you can't let a man spend billions of dollars doing a bill. I would have done that job for $25 million, and it would have been done much better.
Right.
They're spending billions of dollars on a renovation of a little complex.
Let's talk about AI. Have you ever used ChatGPT or Claude?
I haven't really, but I know all about it. Let me just talk about AI.
Yeah.
AI is a big deal. AI is going to be maybe the biggest thing, bigger than the internet, bigger than anything else. We are leading China by a lot. We are leading everybody by a lot. They're all building their factories here. And you know what I did for the electric? Because they need twice the electric as we currently produce for the whole country, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody can do that. But so what I did is I came up with a concept. Each building that is built is going to generate their own electricity.
And that got to be done because, I mean, the main complaint about these data centers, when you put them in their own area without them, you know, without them creating their own energy, they draw on the energy of the locals, and the locals end up paying higher electricity bills because of the data centers in their area. And it low-key decimates them. I mean, we're talking about, if your bill is like 150 to 175 a month, you're now looking at a $400 bill out of nowhere. And that's what these data centers were doing to these Americans. Middle class, by the way. Now, they done switched the game up, and they're starting to move out in more, I would say, high net worth areas or high income areas, to where it's not that bad, to where these guys can afford an extra $200 to $300. And these guys are even complaining still, but hey, they're able to take it on the chin better. But this is the problem with the data centers. When we put them in these local areas around American residents, they tend to raise the bills of these residents, the electric bills. And that's not really helping us out when it comes to affordability. I mean, if it's data centers at the risk of raising your electric bill, you're going to say F the data centers. And I mean, I get it.
To build their own electric plant. We are building numbers of AI. And by the way, also auto plants. Everything. Right. We're building everything. But do you know, I just left Michigan. I was with Ford. They were going to close this building that was built in the early 1900s, one of the biggest factories. They were going to close it. It was scheduled to close prior to my election. Right. After I won the election, they said, let's try keeping it open. They just went to 3 shifts. Right. It's 24 hours a day. And the head of Ford, Mr. Ford, said it's the most incredible auto comeback I've ever seen.
Mr. President, let me ask you, there's no doubt you are the president who's ushering in the AI revolution, but this is happening on your watch. If AI affects humanity in a negative way, is that on you? Because some of these CEOs of AI companies say, we need guardrails. This could get out of control. Does that worry you?
Everything's on me as president. Everything's on me. I can say this, it'll be the greatest jobs producer. It'll be the greatest military producer. It'll be the greatest medical producer. There'll be tremendous good. And there'll be probably some bad too.
Well, it's killing a lot of jobs. And what do you say to Americans who are going to lose their jobs to AI?
It's going to create a lot of jobs.
But right now it's taking jobs in a lot of ways. It's taking jobs from companies like Amazon. What would you say to those Americans?
But it hasn't really started. These major plants haven't even been built. What you're going to
but Mr. President, AI has already started to take jobs because the technology is there.
So we have, it's just announced.
No, that's an excellent point. I mean, I know, look, my co-host Monty, he likes to come on here and be like, AI is the future and all this good stuff. And I would love for that to be true. But right now, it seems like they're putting the cart before the horse, and AI is the cart and we're the horse. And it seems like AI has been put before us to the point where, these companies are taking the cheaper route out, which is AI. They're saving money by just using AI to code. I mean, run their books and all that good stuff. Now, this is a problem because there's going to be a lot of Americans who are out of work because of AI. But what are they supposed to do? They can never compete with a robot that's constantly learning and getting better by the day. So what? They're just supposed to be jobless? What are you going to do? Instead of telling them to learn how to code, you're going to tell them, oh, learn machine learning now. Is like, what's the plan here? And I mean, if that's the plan, please be transparent about it.
More jobs right now occupied in the United States of America than at any time during its existence, 250 years.